Okay, we have a great volume for you guys. We're going to jump in looking at fantasy football players that are being drafted after the 10th round that should provide great value and upside and be that sleeper you're looking for. First up, we have Jerome Ford, running back, Cleveland Browns. After Nick Chubb got hurt, he definitely showed that he could carry the load and be a feature back, give you RB2 upside. Next, we have Braden Cooks, wide receiver, Dallas Cowboys. If you look at his full season, his numbers are not that great. But if you look at the last 4 games, him and Dak really started to get on the same page, and looks like he could offer you at least wide receiver 3 weekly appeal. Finally, Wicks, wide receiver, Green Bay Packers. Same thing as Cooks. If you look at the whole season, the numbers are not great. But the last few weeks, he really got on the same page with Love, and he looks like he could offer you, again, wide receiver 3 upside at the minimum. Take it away, Jordan.
Some of the players I'm targeting in the later rounds, starting with roughly 120th ranked Aaron Rodgers. He is averaging around the QB 20 with most experts, and he's not going to be a top 5, probably not even going to be a top 10, but I could see him landing in that QB 11 to QB 15 range. If you need a solid backup or a solid bye week quarterback, I think Aaron Rodgers is your target guy. I know that the Jets defense isn't going to they're not going to be in shootouts because of that defense, and the offense is going to be a little bit slower paced, but Aaron Rodgers is solid as ever. Looking at Joshua Palmer, wide receiver 57, he's around 140th ranked, and without Mike Williams and Keenan Allen last year, he put up 11.5 points per game, so look for him to do some of the same. Adam Thielen at about 160th ranked wide receiver 66. He started hot last year, wide receiver 11 through 11 weeks, fell off hard, but he still finished wide receiver 25.
There are three running backs who I think are great values right now after pick 100 in fantasy drafts. Starting off, we have Nick Chubb. He's one of the best running backs in the game when he's healthy. He currently has an ADP of 107, and he's the 37th running back off the board right now. I think at this price, he's worth the risk. If he works out, you have a running back 1 at a running back 3 price. And if he doesn't work out, well, you only gave up a 9th or 10th round pick, which isn't the end of the world. Next, I have Ty J. Spears, who has an ADP of 106, so he's the running back 36 off the board this season. He's especially valuable in PPR formats, and I think with how efficient he is when he touches the ball, that he's eventually going to become the guy in Tennessee. The Titans' offense could be improved this season with the addition of Calvin Ridley and with another year of development from Will Levis. Finally, I have Rico Dowdle, who has an ADP of 142. He's currently the 45th running back off the board. There is speculation brewing that he looks like the lead back in training camp for the Cowboys right now. Dowdle runs with tenacity, and I see why the Cowboys like his toughness. And if he does take that lead back role, he'll definitely be worth a 12th or 13th round pick that you'll have to give up to get him. You should definitely be stashing him right now because if he gets that job, he's going to have a lot of opportunities to run the ball.
Romeo Doubs is the Packers wide receiver offering fantasy managers the best value in drafts this season. At his current early 11th round ADP, he is going several rounds later than fellow Packers receiver Jaden Reed. Reed and Doubs are both good young players who should benefit from playing in a Packers offense that has the potential to be elite with Jordan Love at quarterback. Doubs is a big-bodied, 6'2", 204-pound wide receiver who gives Love another red zone threat, as evidenced by his 8 touchdowns last season. I like him to put up similar touchdown numbers to last year, and his production could be even better if the injury-prone Christian Watson misses extended time again. Reed and Doubs both should put up similar numbers, and with Doubs going later in drafts, I think he provides fantasy managers with better value.
All right, great points, Lucas. But the correct answer is Jaden Reed. All right, he is a do-it-all wide receiver. He can line up outside in the slot. He even did stuff in the backfield. I mean, he was just phenomenal. The last 6 weeks, he was actually a top 15 wide receiver in all of football. And finally, he led the Packers in yards as a rookie. He did that as a rookie, so he's only going to get better. Now, also don't forget Christian Watson in those late rounds. But overall, Jaden Reed.
Excuse me, sir. Would you like another hot take?
Yeah, definitely. Keep them coming.
All right, this week's hot takes from me are all going to come from the NFL, especially with fantasy football about to start blowing up and the season starting. First up, Khalil Shakir will lead the Buffalo Bills in receiving yards. I know you got Kincaid, you also have Coleman, but it's going to be Khalil Shakir. Next, Christian Kirk, Jacksonville Jaguars, is going to be a top 15 wide receiver. All right. He only really has competition from a rookie and a tight end, but overall, he showed the few years he's been there that he is the main guy with Trevor Lawrence. So definitely look to draft him. And finally, Chris Godwin leads the Bucks in receiving yards in fantasy football, not Mike Evans. If you watch the last few games of the season, especially fantasy points, there's a little bit of changing in guard. So definitely take the value and take Chris Godwin. Take it away, Jordan.
Thanks, Josh. My hot takes this week, they're coming from the Olympic Games. And no, not the Paris Games that just happened. We're looking forward to 2028 Summer Games in Los Angeles, where breaking, aka breakdancing, is not going to be a part of the Olympics. I know we all saw videos of Australian B-girl Rachel Gunn, aka the Ray Gun, and her moves, which a lot of people called lackluster. But this is a highly skilled art form, and it should be in the Olympics. We had the men's like Phil Wizard Kim, Danny Dan Seville, and Victor Montalvo going crazy on the stage. It was a joy to watch, and this should be an event that should be in the Olympics going forward. Another event that has not been confirmed yet, but I think should be, is boxing. It's been in the game since 1904, with the exception of 1912 Stockholm Games, because Swedish law prohibited it, but this is a Olympic mainstay and should be included. Jacob, what you got for us?
Thanks, Jordan. And my hot take for the week is that the Indianapolis Colts will win the AFC South. I know a lot of people are already writing down the Texans as the winner, but I think Anthony Richardson is going to work out. They've got a lot of weapons around him now, and Jonathan Taylor is locked in and healthy. Again, I think the sky's the limit for this offense. They also have a strong coach in Shane Steichen, who showed a lot of promise last season. He should be a good match for DeMeco Ryan and the Texans, and I'm excited to see how that rivalry plays out this season.
Hi everyone, my hot take this week is not only will the Brewers win the NL Central, but I think if they get a first round bye, they have an excellent chance to set their starting pitching lineup and put themselves in an excellent position to go pretty deep into the playoffs this season. This team was expected to have an 18% chance of winning the NL Central, and with a pretty hefty lead, I think they're going to walk away with it. Now, if they can get a first round bye, they can put their starting pitching in an excellent position. This position has been a trouble for the Brewers all season. They've had 17 starting pitchers, and with all the injuries that they've had in this position, they picked up 2 additional players right before the trade deadline. And I think that they're in a much better position than they were to start the season. They have a lot of players that are starting to come back. Devin Williams is a big one in that bullpen. He's the closer, and he has been amazing since he's come back from his back injury. So hopefully the Brewers will get it together, and let's be real, Milwaukee could use it.
My hot take for this week is that the Minnesota Twins will get hot down the stretch and take the AL Central crown from the Cleveland Guardians. The Twins are currently plus 230 to win the Central, and I feel like this is a discount for futures bettors. The Guardians have sputtered as of late, winning only 4 of their last 10, and have one of the hardest remaining schedules in the entire major leagues. Cleveland's major addition at the trade deadline was Lane Thomas, and he has struggled to solidify the top of the Guardians lineup as they had hoped. The Twins arguably have a better lineup and certainly have a better starting rotation than the Guardians, and with them being only 3.5 games back in the standings, I like the Twins to overtake the Guardians and win the Central for the 4th time in 6 seasons.
This is a poker hand I played at Harrah's Casino in Kansas City, Missouri. In this hand, 3 players limped, and I raised it $20 in the small blind with black 10s, and all of the players made the call. The flop came 9-6-6 with 2 spades. Here in the worst position, I chose to check, as I could just be crushed here if one of my opponents has a 6, and if they don't, I can get value on the turn and river. Action ends up checking through, so I'm pretty confident I have the best hand going to the turn, which comes a 10, so if there was any doubt, there is none now. I bink top boat, and here I choose to go for a small bet of $30. If anyone was trapping with a 6, they would probably raise that off now versus this size, and if they have a flush draw, I can get value versus that as well, or if they have a weak pair. One player makes a call and 2 players fold, and we go to a river, which comes in offsuit deuce. Now I bet for 115. This opponent was playing pretty conservatively, so I don't think he would bluff a flush draw here on the river if I check to him. So that's why I picked this size to target his stronger hands. But I think I should have bet smaller to try and get a crying call from his 1 pair hands, because that's most likely what he has. Anyway, he makes the fold and we win the pot. This is a hand I played from the same session. In this hand, a player who had been limping a lot opened at $15 from under the gun. 2 players called, and I woke up with pocket jacks in the big blind. Here I made an unorthodox play, and by that I mean a bad play, and I just call. I thought the under the gun player would be super tight here, since he usually limps, but I still think I should be 3-betting jacks to a size where I could fold to a 4-bet and get value from his worst hands like pocket 10s or pocket 9s. Anyway, the flop comes 7-4 deuce rainbow. The action checks to the under the gun player, who now bets for $30. Both of the other players call, and these guys are very sticky. They'll call with any pair here. And the under the gun player loves to c-bet and then give up on the turn when he's bluffing. So I make the call here, figuring I'm still going to be best a lot, and I'm going to find out a lot on the turn. The turn comes a queen, I check, and now the action checks through. So I think I'm definitely going to go for value on the river if it's a clean card for me, but it's not a clean card. The river comes a king. So my plan to go for value is foiled. I check here, expecting someone else to bet and have to fold myself, but the action checks through. I roll my hand over, and we are good and win a pretty nice pot.
Okay, so a few hands from Windstar. We're playing 1-2, and I'm under a gun, and we have pocket aces. The race is $17, and we get 5 callers. So I know to proceed with a lot of caution. Let's go to the flop. The flop is the ace of hearts, the queen of hearts, and the 7 of spades. Great flop, but there's a lot of draws out there, so I want to bet a little. So I bet 37, and we get 3 callers. The turn is a queen of spades. I bet $58. The middle position calls. Now the hijack raises to 158. I flat and the middle position also calls. The river's of 4 clubs. I check. The middle position checks. Now the hijack goes all in for 120. I go all in. Middle position folds. Hijack shows they have ace queen of diamonds for a cooler, and I win with the bigger full house. Sometimes it's like that, so it's a good win for us. All right, still at Windstar and playing 1-2. This time we're ungunned +1, and we look down at pocket aces again. This time we make it $14, and we get 4 callers. So again, we're going to proceed with caution. The flop comes the king of clubs, the 5 of spades, the 3 of clubs. Text to me, and now I lead for $23. Now the hijack raises to 80. Everyone else folds, and this guy had been super loose and aggressive. I know he doesn't have a set of kings, and I put him on some sort of draw. So I go all in, which is about 160 effective for them. They debate, which is good because then I know they don't have a set, and finally they call. So they're on some sort of draw. The turn is a jack of hearts. The river is a 5 of clubs, which I hate because the flush draw gets there. I show my aces up, and we win because they had a straight draw with 6-4 offsuit, and they missed. So glad they had the straight and not the flush draw.
Soccer hooligans.
We are back with another edition of the Adam Manage Jordan Olympic with one more week for you as we are wrapping up the Olympic Games in Paris. It was a fantastic 2 weeks, and we look forward to 2028 in Los Angeles. That one is going to be a big one as well. But let's get into it. USA and China tie for the most gold medals, each on 40. However, USA takes the advantage on total medals overall, having 44 silver medals and 42 bronze medals for a total of 126, and China only had 27, well, I say only, they had 27 silvers and 24 bronze for a total of 91. Insane numbers for both of those countries. USA, they took the Olympics down, and a lot of it was thanks to the solid USA basketball, both men's and women's, and the solid women's soccer. Always reliable, those three, to get the golds. It's like Come on, they're doing it. What's wrong with you, men's soccer? You can't get it together? You can't figure it out? Anyways, women's basketball, congratulations. That is their 8th straight gold medal. That is absolutely phenomenal. It's crazy to think about that they haven't lost in 32 years. They've won gold every 4 years for the last 32 years. So congrats to them. On to a wonderful story. We have Cuba Greco-Roman wrestler Mijan Lopez Nunez, and he has won his 5th straight gold medal, like I said, in Greco-Roman wrestling. He won his first one in 2004. The man has retired. After his match, he took off his shoes, placed them on the mat, and that was a sign that he was calling it quits. So what a fantastic career for him at 41 years old, to think that he won his first gold medal at 21 and he hasn't looked back. What an incredible career for him. That's what we got for you guys with the Olympics. Congratulations. We're back with the Wrexham Watch as they won their first match back in the English League One. So they're starting off the season on the right foot. This week coming up, we've got Premier League starting. We've got France's Ligue 1 starting. We've got the Spanish La Liga starting, and we've got the Italian Serie A starting. So we're going to be back in action with soccer news for you week to week with the added minutes. We'll see you guys next week.
There's not a ton of great options at starting pitcher on the waiver wire for fantasy baseball managers right now, but Spencer Arrighetti of the Houston Astros does offer some upside. Arrighetti was abysmal to start the season, and his overall numbers are not very good, but over the last month, he has turned the corner and has pitched very well. Over that time period, Arrighetti has been the number 34 player in standard leagues and has thrown 43 strikeouts across 31 innings with a 3.19 ERA and a sub-1 whip. He offers a mid-90s fastball, which he pairs with a cutter and a nasty curveball that he uses to miss bats. Arrighetti should be able to add strikeouts in decent ratios to fantasy managers down the stretch, so if your team is in need of starters, this is a guy worth picking up.
Thank you so much to everyone that watched it. And if you haven't yet, please take a quick second, hit that like, leave a comment, and subscribe if you haven't. It helps us a ton and we appreciate it. Now, we are going to be in Vegas next week. Main purpose? To see the killer. So if you're in Vegas there, come say hi. It's also the biggest week for fantasy football. So we'll be in Vegas August 20th through 24th. We plan to have 2 meetup poker games. One will be a fancy football draft and meetup game. That is August 23rd at Mandolin Bay. We plan on doing the fancy football draft at the House of Blues, and we are going to have special guests, Uncle Leo Comedy. He's going to do some comedy, also play some poker. Great guy, a lot of fun. And then after the comedy and fancy football, we're going to play some poker at Mandolin Bay. If you haven't yet, check out our website and store, get some DGL gear for yourself or someone else. And we look forward to talking to you guys next week.